All right, let's talk about one of the most dramatic transformations a company can go through, the initial public offering, or IPO. This is a massive, high-stakes journey that takes a company from the shadows of private control into the bright lights of public scrutiny. We're going to break down every single step. You've seen it happen, right? A company you've heard of suddenly pops up on the stock ticker. But have you ever stopped to think, how in the world did it get there? What does it really take to go from being a private business, known mostly to its insiders, to a household name traded by millions of people every single day? Well, that's exactly what we're about to unpack. So, at its absolute core, an IPO is just this. It's a private company's big public debut. For the very first time, its shares, its ownership, are up for grabs to anyone and everyone. And that one simple act completely changes, well, everything. The ownership, the rules, its entire reason for being. So that begs the question, why would any company choose to do this? It's a huge undertaking, so you know the reasons have to be pretty powerful. This isn't a decision that's made lightly. And the motivations are actually pretty diverse. I mean, the obvious one is money, right? You get to tap into massive pools of capital to fuel your growth. But for the founders and the early investors, this is often the exit they've been dreaming of, their chance to finally cash out. And beyond the money, an IPO can totally supercharge a brand, help you snag top talent with stock options, and can even be a really smart way to pass a family business on to the next generation. But here's the thing you have to understand. This is so much more than a financial move. It's a fundamental, irreversible change in the very DNA of a company. Once you go public, there is absolutely no going back. This quote right here really nails it. Suddenly, your company isn't your own little club anymore. It literally belongs to the public. And with that comes this radical new demand for transparency. Every big decision, every piece of important news, the curtain gets pulled back for good. And the change is just, it's stark when you lay it out side by side. As a private company, you've got control, you've got privacy, you make decisions behind closed doors. But the second you become a public company, that control turns into accountability to thousands of shareholders you've never met. Privacy is gone, replaced by mandatory transparency. And you're not just playing by the normal rules of business anymore. Now you have to answer to strict capital market laws that dictate exactly what you say, how you say it, and when. Okay, so knowing all of that, a company has to take a long, hard look in the mirror. It's not enough to just be a successful business. You have to be IPO ready. And trust me, that is a whole different ballgame. And this isn't just some simple to-do list. These are major, major hurdles. We're talking about years of squeaky clean audited financials that show you're not just growing, but growing consistently. Your leadership team needs a seasoned chief financial officer who knows this playbook inside and out. And your whole corporate structure has to be formalized with independent directors to prove you can handle the intense public scrutiny. And as you can probably guess, getting yourself ready for this moment is, well, it's incredibly expensive. There are huge upfront costs just to get to day one, and believe me, the bills don't stop there. Get this, a whopping 3 to 7% of all the money raised in the IPO goes directly to the bankers who manage the whole thing. So to put that in perspective, if a company raises $100 million, up to $7 million of that can go straight to the bankers before the company even sees a dime. And the costs don't stop once you're public. Think of it like a lifetime subscription to public life. Now you're on the hook for constant audits, a dedicated investor relations team, much higher insurance costs, not to mention the immense pressure from the market to deliver great results every single quarter, which can sometimes force you to sacrifice long-term vision. So if a company is ready and it's willing to pay the price, it then has to navigate this absolute maze of legal and regulatory rules. And this is where things get really, really detailed. At the very heart of this legal journey is one single, unbelievably important document, the prospectus. The best way to think about it is like the company's official autobiography, its business plan, and its binding legal contract with the public, all rolled into one. Everything, and I mean everything, hinges on this document. And this thing is exhaustive. I mean, it lays out every detail about the business model, the market, 3 years of audited financials. It even has to say exactly how the company plans to spend the money it raises. But buried deep inside all these pages is one section that the lawyers will tell you is the most critical one of all. And there it is, the risk factors section. This is where the company has to lay out every single conceivable thing that could go wrong. And this isn't just boring legal stuff. This is the company's #1 shield. It's their primary defense against getting sued later on by investors who might lose money. Okay, now here's another key rule, and this one is all about preventing total chaos right after the IPO. Just imagine if all the founders and early investors decided to dump their shares on the very first day. The stock would absolutely crater. So, to stop that from happening, regulators enforce what's called a lockup period. And these rules are really strict. The people with the most shares are locked in for a full 2 years. Board members and key managers have to wait at least 1 year. This makes sure that the people who know the company best are sticking around for the long haul, which, of course, gives all the new public investors a lot more confidence. So, once the decision is made and everyone understands the rules, the real action begins. And you can think of it as an intense, all-consuming 9-month sprint to get onto the stock market. It all builds in stages. The first 3 months are all about putting together your team, your army of bankers and lawyers, and they just tear the company apart in due diligence. Months 4 to 6 are a total marathon of writing that critical prospectus. Then, the management team goes on what's called a roadshow, which is this whirlwind tour of pitching the company to huge investors. And it all leads up to month 9, setting that final price, selling the shares, and finally listing on the exchange. But ringing that opening bell, that is not the end of the story. Not even close. It's the beginning of a brand new one. Life as a public company is a relentless, never-ending cycle of reporting and accountability. This is the company's new reality. Any big event that happens, good or bad, has to be disclosed almost immediately. Every single quarter, detailed financials go out to the public. You're constantly having to prove your governance is sound, and you're in a perpetual conversation with the analysts who are watching your every single move. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that an IPO isn't the finish line. It's the starting line of a completely new race. One that takes more endurance, more discipline, and way more transparency than ever before. It's the moment a company really starts its journey to becoming a true public institution. Which really leaves us with one final big question to think about. Is this whole grueling, expensive process just about cashing out? Or is it something more? Is it a profound commitment to building an institution that's strong enough to outlast the very people who created it?